Hey everyone, welcome to Jira Duty. It's been a while, and I got my beautiful and amazing wife with me. Hi, Lena. And we're going to basically spend the next hour or so together and try to answer some questions. Now, if you're new here, the way Jira Duty works is just like jury duty. That is something that nobody wants to do. Jira Duty is our opportunity to improve our Jira skills and, more importantly, help answer questions that people in the Atlassian ecosystem have. And so there's hundreds and hundreds of questions. We're going to just try to answer some questions. And if you're watching this, if you're in the chat here with us and you want to ask questions, you should also use it or take advantage of that chat so that we can answer any questions that you may have. But while those questions come in, we're going to go to one of three places. We're going to be inside of community.atlassian.com. That's probably where we're going to spend, I don't know, 80% of our time. Then we're going to go to Reddit and look at some Reddit questions. And then, depending on how time allows, we might go to the Facebook groups and see if there's anything over there. Although on the Facebook groups, though, it's usually pretty spammy and usually not a whole lot of good, valuable information or questions. So we might just not spend too much time over there. But Reddit usually does have a couple of good questions to ask or to answer. All right. So for those of you following along, we're going to be inside of community.atlassian.com. More specifically, we're going to be in the Q&A or the forum section of community.atlassian.com. And we're just going to take a look. Now, we don't do any prep for this, right? This is the beauty of it. And this is just us kind of looking at these questions for the first time and trying to answer the ones that make sense. Try to get some clarification from some of them because not every question is going to be answerable. Some of them require some insight or some feedback back from the user. We may have to make some assumptions, but the end goal is to try to answer at least 2 or 3 questions over the next hour. I know sounds like not a lot, but you'd be surprised. These are rather tricky. They're rather complex and hard, and they're not always answerable. With that said, Lena, I just want to let you know, kind of, this to me is the best way to learn and get better at the Atlassian tools because we're going to look at a question and we have to understand the question. We then need to reverse engineer the question and basically reproduce the problem and then articulate a solution. And so you're stretching your mind in different ways that normally, if you're reading Atlassian documentation to learn how to do something, like, cool. But this way, it's forcing you to like really know your stuff because you gotta that third step is articulate that solution, which is really that hard part. And so we're gonna start off. Number one, Trello has crashed and has a 4.3 warning. Now, I'm not a big Trello person, so I say we're gonna skip the Trello one and we're gonna come and look at this Jira one here. So let's go to Jira. Let's go to our very first question of the night and take a look. So this question is author Jira changes project space board impacts. This is by Richard Walsh. Hi, my company managed boards have changed behavior today, rendering them unusable. Those are some fighting words right there. Previous behavior, boards were by issue type. We had epic, feature, bug, task, etc. Clicking on the top right configuration, I could switch the workflow for each to get a clean board with their specific status. New behavior, the board includes all issue types and all statuses, which makes it non-functional to users breaking many project boards and efforts in viewing the project. Potential solution, I would need to go into every single space board to manually configure to partially address choosing a single filter on issue type and configuring to hide particular status. This will likely take a full day, which I do not have. Findings, I reviewed the auto logs and lots of changes by user Jira at this time, which correlates to when we started seeing the issue. I couldn't find any other changes that could impact. Unfortunately, this is significant enough change to impact that I'm going to have to review other solutions after using and promoting Jira for 20 years. So, those are some more fighting words. I'm hoping that there's some way to revert this change to avoid that. Appreciate any guidance. So first thing we do is check and see if there's any answers. And John Funk here, legend in the Atlassian ecosystem, it has some information to ask. So is this a Jira business space or a Jira software space? Do you know the difference, Lena?
No. Can you explain the
Yeah.
difference between
So
the Jira?
this is a great question to ask because Jira, we're talking about company managed projects, right? This was already included in the statement up here, right? But fundamentally, when Jira combined Jira Work Management and Jira Software into just Jira, they created these two templates. And so we have a software template and we have a business template. Now, the business template is very much like Trello, where you have a lot more flexibility and customization that you can do with respect to your columns. And you can also add boards in a very interesting way. You can add basically boards and configure them and take advantage of that flexibility so you can essentially do a whole lot of stuff and view the data very differently. Versus in the software space, you have two types of boards, Scrum or Kanban. And that's basically it. So that's the tried and true. This is the model that we've been using for 20 years. And so I'm willing to bet that given that this guy has been using Jira for 20 years, he's probably on a software space. But as you can see here, it's a business, which which is interesting. I think I'm seeing some contradictory things already, but we're gonna dig deeper and we're gonna check and see what's going on here. Okay. But that's the general difference between business and software. The business just allows more flexibility. So Richard says, I'm limited in terms of what I can share as the data sensitive. When we don't need your data, we need configurations. What I'm showing from the screenshot. There's a screenshot somewhere. Oh, here it is. Okay. Oh, I see. The issues are sensitive. Okay. What I'm showing from the screenshot is that the status for all issue types are now on the same board, which can't fit in my screen. If I filter by issue type, as I'll still see the status. It'll be the same screenshot with a reduced count on the issues associated. Before each issue type would have their own workflow, and previously yesterday and prior, I could select the specific workflow from the top right. I believe in the settings, which I have also changed. Say epic feature bug, and this would result in the board specific that the issue type is limited and to the status and associated. Okay. We use different workflow boards to review status at different levels across many projects tracking. An Epic would have child cases that could be any of the other issue types. This is still the case, but without creating many filters or customizing the board across every project. It seems our pattern of how we review and discuss customer specific actions is now quite limited without non trivial action. That would need to be repeated for. Okay, I have no idea what this guy's asking.
I think he's just giving extra information.
He definitely is giving extra information, but I from this screenshot here, I am not convinced. Well, here's the first thing we're gonna do. We're gonna go create a business project to see if we can recreate this, because I don't deal with business projects all that often, and I want to make sure that in the cloud it looks just like this because I have a suspicion. My gut's telling me that this is a data center project, not in the cloud. I don't know how to confirm it, but I'm gonna go and create a business project
Mm-hmm.
and see if we get the same settings here. The other thing, just talking out loud, that the problem that he's describing here,
Mm-hmm.
where he could pick an epic and show the workflow, that's not a feature, at least in the software boards. That's not a functionality that's been supported, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have different, you cannot dynamically alter the columns.
Okay.
You can change boards, you can swap boards all day long, and every board can have different columns, but you can't do a toggle and have the columns change dynamically the way he's describing this. So I am not convinced that this was a thing, but let's go to Jira and let's go see what we can find out. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go create a business company because I just don't have those, a whole lot of those. Business company. I hate Atlassian so much. Did you see what I did?
No.
I'm in Confluence and I
Oh.
see spaces, but because Jiras are spaces now, I'm immediately creating a space. And because I name my spaces the same way I name my Jira projects, I'm thinking that I'm already inside of Jira because I'm clicking too fast. I'm in the friggin' wrong tool. I don't know why Atlassian thought it'd be a good idea to combine these things to spaces. Okay. Now that I'm in the right tool, let's go create a business project. And we don't have enough information to figure out which of those he had, but we're going to try this now. Business company. Next. And it's a company managed. That's good. And so let's see what happens. See these little things. I honestly think that the people that made the changes at Atlassian don't use Jira, or if they do, they've been using it for like 2 days. Because if they'd been using Jira for like any 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 respectable amount of time, they wouldn't make all these dumb changes. Okay, so here's the view settings that we have,
Mm-hmm.
and then all the field that he was showing. So that associates to this and to
Mm-hmm.
this. Um, let's confirm one last thing. Let's make sure that the space settings do indeed look okay. So he's definitely in the cloud. That's good, right? This is good that we're in the cloud. So now we got to see, can we reproduce this problem? Let's go to the first one, okay? Boards were by issue type. Which boards though? How many boards do you have?
You think it was filters that they were working with?
It's possible, but I don't think you can create custom filters like that. Like you can create the quick filters, but
Mm-hmm.
watch. Let's get into this a little bit, right? Because you can configure your columns, right? I have the ability to create a review column here, but I
Mm-hmm.
can't do it because I don't have any statuses, right? So in order to kind of start making his case, I need to go and modify the workflow. I'm gonna have to add like one or two statuses just to kind of, you know, make this repeatable. Right. So I'm gonna add a status. I'm just gonna do accepted. Doesn't matter what I'm adding. I just want a couple of statuses because ultimately um, we need to hide some columns with the one issue type and show different ones with a different issue type. At
Mm-hmm.
least that's what he used to be able to do. So that's done. By the way, if Atlassian does make some good stuff, the new workflow editor is almost perfect. The only thing is that their ability to reuse transitions sucks right now. And remind me to tell Josh because he had asked me what sucks about the new workflow editor, and I gotta tell him that it's reusing transitions.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna create something here. I'm gonna create a. I'm gonna. Ooh, apparently, task is the only thing I have. So this is my task. Create. Okie dokie. What happened to my work? Let's refresh. Here's my task. I can move it to in progress. I cannot move it to. Okay. Did you catch my other mistake that I made?
You didn't link the. You had no transitions.
I did not have any transitions.
It did
So
give you a warning.
it did, and I ignored them. This is why I get in trouble. There's the two warnings. I'm just gonna do my allow all statuses. And that's a whole video series that I do. Is I run through Jira and you gotta catch the errors that I make. Okay, so now we should be able to transition to them. Regardless, though, we would have been okay. We don't need the transitions for the proof of concept. This is just showing that I can move it across the thing, right? So what I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out is where did this homie think that you can have different boards based on issue type? Because I can hide columns like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. But you see, I have to remove the column altogether and hit publish. And that's okay, but I can't like if I want to create a different board, I have to make a new board. And adding new boards is not trivial here. Hmm. This is interesting.
What's interesting?
I don't have the ability to create a new board. So how did he have multiple boards?
Mm, check the plus sign. What's on the plus
No.
sign?
Well, so in a software template, you do have the ability to create multiple boards.
Mm-hmm.
And in a team managed project, I think I've seen Josh do this. So let's go try a team managed one real quick. We're gonna do another work management, another blank business team. Okay, we're gonna test this out because I would suspect that that here I have the ability. I seen Josh add more boards. How in the world does this work? Okay, this is interesting. You see this?
Hmm.
This is an interesting feature where I can add multiple boards across the top. Okay, I can. I would hope I can rename these. Yeah. So Josh.
Is this a team manage?
These are team managed. So we're gonna try to do the same thing. Can we add multiple boards like that in the company one? So we're gonna switch to company. We're gonna go to plus more, add to navigation. We can definitely add more boards this way. Oh, oh, oh! Did you see that?
Why
It,
did it go to the wrong one?
yeah, it kicked me. Add to
Mm,
navigation.
there you go. Kind of
Okay,
weird.
that was weird, right?
Maybe we was still hooked on the other one.
Okay, so here's a board with 3, and here's another board that I can configure the columns to hide to do and hide this one. Okay, so I do have the ability to have 2 different boards that have different items, but there's still no toggle. There's no button over here that would do anything based on issue type. So you would have to have multiple boards going across the top,
Mm-hmm.
and then you change the board filter, right? So, well, actually, I don't even know how to change the board filter then.
You click on the board, I think.
Mm-mm.
Mm.
There's no board filter for this. There's just a group by.
Click on the ellipsis.
That's to
Well,
rename it. Set the default rename. Move left,
not
move
those
right.
ones.
No.
The ones next to the.
This is for the project settings.
Not that one.
So which one do you want me to hit?
The
These over
one
here?
next. Yes.
This is to configure the board.
Hmm.
But these aren't I can't do this issue type specific, right? So I can move the statuses back in, I can add more columns, but it impacts all the issue types. It doesn't it's not specific to an issue type. So in a company managed software project, I have the ability to expand here.
Hmm.
Oh, this is a JSM one here. I have the ability to board settings, which are different than my space settings. And in my board settings, I can change the details, which I can alter the filter, which means I
Mm-hmm.
can say, hey, only show me epics, only show me stories, only show me tasks. And then the I can configure the columns appropriately at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's in a software template. This guy is seeing completely different behavior. So let's see if we can reread this question. So my company has company managed boards. Okay, my company managed boards have changed their behavior today. The boards were by issue type. Clicking on the top right configuration, I could switch the workflow for each to get a clean board with their specific status. The new behavior includes all issue types and all statuses, which makes it non-functional for users taking a break. Oh, users breaking many project boards. So this is indeed the behavior. Partial solution, I will need to go into every single spaceboard to manually configure partially address choosing a single filter. Can we even do filters on these? Oh, you can. Okay. Oh, and then the multiple word types. You know what? Let's try something. Let's add multiple word types because another part that he's explaining here is that he has epics, features, and bugs and tasks.
Mm-hmm.
Which this right here is a big red flag for me. This is not a default field in Jira. And so I don't know how he would have a feature other than he treats it like a story. But let's add epics. Let's add a couple of word types in here and add a new feature. I'm going to add my epic. And let's see what these does. Because maybe this behaves differently now that we have a hierarchy in there. Okay. So filters. So we can call it epics. Okay, reset. Oh, look at this. I can save this board view.
Hmm.
This board will be saved for everyone in the space. You'll see the apply filters. Okay. Then I'm going to go and undo these two. Take this one off, put these two on. Save that. Wait, I want a different name. I don't think this just saves the view. It didn't do anything. All it did was make that filter the default one.
Between the two boards?
Mm-hmm. Come to the right. I don't think what this guy... I have two filters. Where are those at? Save filter. Okay. Epics only. So let's do this. Let's go to my epics only and click epics only. Save. Edit. Okay. This is going to be, you see this UI, Atlassian? Task and features. Save. I'm going to create a new one with just epics and save that filter as epics. Okay. So far so good. The problem becomes if I add another status, like if I move my in progress back in, and do this, publish, I can't save, like it won't toggle between the two. All it does is hide or show the issues, but doesn't modify this. I don't think this guy is correct. How does this guy know that at 4 a.m. is when the issue started correlating? Let me hit refresh. Let me see if there's any new conversations here. Okay. Hi, John. It's a Jira user. Okay. It's limited in terms. Okay. What I'm showing is... I don't think this guy is correct. I just tried this out for the first time, Lena. But I don't think Atlassian pushed any new features that would have made this change. Ronnie wants to know if we tried the turn it off and turn it back on again. Seems he also already
shut
violated
it
the
down.
Before each issue type would have their own workflow, and previously yesterday and prior, I could select specific workflow item from the... I suspect that he is in a different Jira project. Is the only explanation that I can think of. We use a different workflow board to review the status. Let me check and see if Atlassian released any new features on this. I don't want to say that they did because I don't think they did. But somehow these features are slightly... I feel like the behavior is 100% valid. Like this is how company managed business projects work. So the only thing I want to ask him is like, are you sure you... I mean, it's gonna sound very dumb and arrogant, but you know what's throwing me off too? This little arrow. What is this? How do I get that arrow to show up? Oh, there it is. Okay, collapse. Okay. See, this is how little time I spend in these business projects. This is why I'm afraid to misspeak because I don't invest enough of my time on these business projects. So let's Google something. Jira business board have different columns.
And Ronnie says, seems he already violated the keep it simple rule. And it's
Yeah, I
paying.
saw that. See, this answer here is very, very valid
Hmm.
if your workflows, if you have to, one, if you're in a business project, but two, you need to have different workflows. So, one last test before I give up on this question is we're going to go and create a workflow that is different for an epic. Now that we've added the epic, I'm going to
Mhm.
take this workflow here and I'm going to create just a copy of it and take away a status or two. And I'm going to see if it makes any difference. That because then that probably means that somebody messed up his workflows. If this turns out to be the case, right? So I'm gonna make a copy. I'm just gonna call this one the copy of. I don't really care. Normally I don't do this. Don't. Whenever you make a copy, don't leave the copy of there, folks. And I'm gonna remove these statuses. I'm gonna delete this status. I'm gonna delete this status. I'm gonna leave just the 3 to do in progress and done. Update my workflow. I'm gonna go back to my project, and I'm gonna add. I'm gonna add this workflow to the project. So I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna go to add a workflow, add existing, find my copy of, which only has the 3 statuses, the 2 removed. And I'm gonna give it only to the epic. Because now this way, I know that my epic has a different workflow than my stories and the task and the new feature and stuff. Right?
Mhm.
These have 5, these have 3.
3.
I'm gonna take it one step further and I'm gonna edit this workflow. And what I'm gonna do here is instead of to do, because I also want to see if I can add a little bit of just a little bit more difference. I'm gonna see if I can change it. Alex needs someone watching the chat. That's what Lena's here for, Ronnie.
Hmm.
Ronnie just secretly wants to join us on Jira duty. You're more than welcome to join, Ronnie. You have the StreamYard. Okay, so I've changed the status of one so that it's different, right? So it's not just the same 3 statuses. Now I have different statuses. It's not perfect, but it should be enough to prove the point here. If this is indeed working the way I think it's supposed to work. Okay, so I have a workflow with to do in progress, these 5 statuses, good. And then I have a different one with a slightly different to do status. It's now open. So I'm going to publish that and go associate. Now, normally you want to configure those, but because I have 0 epics, there's 0
Mhm.
impact. So I just proceed. But normally you want to pay attention to that one. This case, I can bypass it. Okay, so I have 2 different workflows, 2 different issue types. We're going to go back in here and let's see if we get any different behavior now that we done that change. So we're going to add a column here for open and pull my open in. Push this guy to the left. Hit publish. Okay, so the only problem is that when I create something, this is my epic. I can see all the work, which is this is how it works. I don't understand what this guy's talking about. There
Maybe it
is
didn't
no
used to work like that.
there is no button over here that does that.
That does what?
The only thing I can think of is that he's in a software template. Like the other whatever project he thinks he was on must have been on a software template, because this is not possible in these business templates. In a company template, in a software template, I can recreate the scenario that he's doing. The toggle is off; it doesn't work that way.
Mhm.
But I can create multiple boards that have different columns, and you toggle on the left-hand side. Over here, you go from one to the other. And then you can say this board is only for epics, or this board is only. Did they get Did they get Jippity to answer the question? I don't think so. I thought you guys said that Atlassian was or Robo was answering questions now, because this is not answering questions.
It answers some questions. It's
I
not.
was not answering this one. We use different workflow boards review.
Oh, oh, you mean on the forum? Hmm.
I'm gonna go to ChatGPT. Can Jira business projects have board settings? Mostly no. See, that's not the way you use them. So that's right. So the problem is if you don't have board settings, then how do you modify the query? Because every board that you create here in the in this company, right?
Mm-hmm.
The difference between Alex and Josh, they're the same. Oh, wait. I guess technically he can do this, right? Technically he can do this and this and this, where he only shows the epics. But
Mm-hmm.
that's not that's like that's the only technical thing I can think he can do. But he does need to set up those filters. I'm gonna here's what I'm gonna respond. I could set up a company managed software template to have multiple boards based on issue type. But on the right side of a company managed project, we still don't even have that thing that he keeps saying that you have.
Maybe you can ask for more information, like not the issue types, but like how does it?
It's just that thing that he was talking about doesn't make any sense. Like it doesn't exist. I've never seen the ability to toggle the board here. I can toggle the board over here, but not on the right.
Yeah, maybe we move on to the next one because you've
I know.
spent 33 minutes on this one.
What is what I'll tell you? These questions are so hard. Okay, I try to recreate what you were trying to describe, and I set up and have multiple words based on issue type. I'm also not aware of any changes that Atlassian would have rolled out in the last day or two that would have created the scenario you are describing. I'm pretty sure your new problem is exactly the intended behavior for business projects. I'm pretty sure it's been that way for a while.
Why don't you just say instead of that, why don't you provide more information?
And do you have any other information you can share? I don't know. This is not a good question. This is why you should vet the questions too.
Ronnie says put 5 minutes on the screen for the next question. We want to.
All right, Jira automation. Here we go.
Ronnie says solve it in 5 minutes.
Hello, everyone. I'm hoping, well, it takes me 5 minutes to read the question. Jira automation, set request participants as reporter on ticket creation. Everyone, I'm hoping someone can provide guidance or a template for Jira automation rule my team is working on. We receive automatically generated scheduled emails that create a JSM ticket for task X. Our current automation rule correctly identifies these tickets and adds the necessary internal comments. What we're trying to accomplish is next. The next is this. When the ticket is created, a request participant is automatically added. We would like the automation to make the request participant and set them as the reporter of the ticket. Has anyone implemented something similar? Can you point me in the correct way to reference the request participant and update the reporter field via automation? John Funk, how is a person getting automatically placed in the request participant field, and why not put the same user in the assigning field at the same time? Service Rocket says we would like the automation to take the request participant and set them as a first. Does the participant already exist? Then assign as a reporter, but you need to use the API and get the ID of the participant. That's easy.
Ronnie says you already used 20%.
I gotta read the dumb questions. Okay. But this is an interesting one. When the ticket is created, a request participant is automatically added. That is not how JSM works. Okay. When you submit a ticket to JSM, the person that submitted the request via email, that becomes your reporter. Anybody who is CC'd on the email becomes the request participants. But you cannot create a work item in Jira without having a reporter. That's a non-negotiable. You have to have a reporter. The reporter is always there, and it's whoever sent the email or whoever submitted the request via the portal. Okay. Now it seems like they're getting emails, so these are coming in through the email. So the reporter is already set. So when the ticket is created, a request participant is automatically added. How? We would like the automation to take that request participant and set them as a reporter of the ticket. Now, here's where the problem is. You can't do this. You shouldn't be able to do this for two reasons. One, again, the reporter is already set. And two, request participant, what he's missing here.
Ronnie says you can have a default reporter.
You can't have a default reporter. But the reporter is already set when whoever sends the email in. But here's where I think he's going to run into the biggest problem. When you look at an item from JSM, the field is not called request participant. The field is called request participants. If I could find it. Where are you at? Oh, come on. Do you see it anywhere? Here we go. See, it's request participants. You know what pence means?
Plural.
Eh? Two or more.
Than one.
More than one. And so the problem you're going to have is even if there was some automation that you could do, you can only have one reporter. So what is he going to do when he has two reporters? What is he going to do when he has two request participants? You can't. I'm going to ask for some screenshots of this because
I'll scroll down. Maybe there's more down there.
No, there isn't, and then I get in trouble for taking too long. I'm going to ask for some screenshots. All right, let's go. Ask Steven.
Pants mean leg coverings?
Pants means leg coverings. Pants, request participants.
Oh. Oh. Oh, that's hilarious. Ronnie said
I'm typing as fast as I can. Even if there was an automation rule to do this, what happens when you have two or more request participants? Reporter can only have one value in it. How would you choose which request participant becomes the reporter? How is the request being created without a reporter? Josh, I pissed him off with my number of question marks.
You should put out a little graphic that means that shows people what do you mean by all those question marks and those little
I have a
dimensions.
lot of questions and confusion about that one. So let's go. Asset object custom field. Oh, assets in the acquired. Let's see what this one says. This is an interesting one. Assets is an acquired feature deployed to JSM and non-JSM for software projects. I'm specifically curious about whether an asset object custom field can be utilized on a form. There's a lot of subpar information available without reference and limitations related to non-JSM. All documentation I see generalizes assets in the relation to JSM, muddied in the confusion, updated. Yeah. My understanding is that an anecdotal experience is that either asset object custom field, even when placed on the create screen, are not available in non-JSM forms, or certain asset objects might not work. I tested multiple select field. Let's see. Aaron from Service Rocket says, although there isn't any documentation, I'll say that the asset custom fields are not supported since they're meant to be okay. Without that collection, you don't have assets. Also, the fields you see on the right form are only field supported. I tend to agree that what you see is what you get, but the field availability in the form editor, so to speak, that if the field's there. All right, let's go test this one out. This one's easy enough to test out. So first I'm going to make sure I have a assets, which I should have because I'm inside of my iron one. So we have assets. Yay. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go to, actually, I probably already have an assets field because I'm in the iron one. So let's go see if we can find one of those. We're going to go to fields and we're going to go to advanced. Nope, definitely not advanced. Other.
Can you search it?
Here we go. So we have AMI. This is a field for that's an asset, right? And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take that AMI and I'm going to see if I can add it to my Android project.
Ronnie
So
started time.
yeah. So my Android project is a software project, and I'm going to go to the work items and I'm going to go to the screens, and I'm going to see if I can add to the story the AMI field. So I'm going to type in AMI. It shows up. That's good. It's there. We're going to go back. Now we're going to go into our Android project. Come on, Jira, I'm on the clock. Here we go. I'm going to click create. I'm going to go full screen on this. Go to my Android. Go to that story. Oops. Go to that story and find my AMI. So here's the AMI and no options. Interesting. We couldn't remove attributes that no longer exist. Okay. No option, Mike. Okay. All right. So what we're gonna do now, just to test this out now, is we're gonna go back to this to the JSM project that I have. We're gonna do something very similar. We're gonna add it to the screens of the JSM one. I'm gonna just add it to the task so that I don't my ADD or my not ADD but my short-term memory doesn't get the best of me, right? I added it there. Now I'm gonna hit the create button in the task. Oh, great.
Ronnie
Oh,
says his
request type.
computer is not on, right? Or he would join.
Okay, so we get the same behavior. So luckily we get the same behavior. So this is good. So far, so good. Okay. I'm gonna go back. I need to go back to my fields and I need to look up that AMI field and I need to see if it's actually returning any data because I might have just picked a bad field. Remember, I didn't create these fields. And so the assets fields are different because they contain all this extra stuff here. And so there's a lot of extra information on people. Oh boy. And I might just not have one. Let's see if there's another. Is there anything on this one? This one seems to be a little bit easier. Let's try adding this field, product family. So we're going to go here and go product family.
3 minutes.
Yeah. Create. No request type. Product family. Oh boy, come on.
No options either.
How the heck do I get options in here? Seriously. Okay. I don't like this time pressure. I gotta click faster. You go to my people one and see if there's anything in there. People, 126 objects. People. Object type approved AMI. Where's that at? Maybe this doesn't work because I don't have the right thingy here. Hmm.
Hmm.
Object type equals. I'm just missing an approved AMI thingy. And I don't know enough assets off the top of my head to configure this to work differently. So let's see if I can do something very simple. Create a new field, type assets. Create. Test asset. Context. Pick an object. Object type equals region. Let's try that. People. Save. Select an attribute. Access policy. Okay, so we're going to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where the heck we're getting the access policy, but that's the attribute we went with. It's somewhere in here. So let's see if it does anything. So we have the object people schema, and we're not bringing any. We're bringing all the data, and we're gonna search on this policy here. So let's go and add it to my screen now. Got to refresh. Test asset. This is still in the P. Okay. Task. No request type. Go down. Test assets. Okay, we got values. Perfect. Now we got to go to the project. For Android, same thing.
Ronnie, that's five. It says five. That's 5 minutes.
Yeah, well, I'm almost done. I need another 30 seconds. Test asset, create, change to Android team, story, scroll down, test asset. The values show up and hit create. Okay, so this is good. This means that you can successfully reference JSM fields with JSM data or asset data inside of Jira software. So that debunks this. So assets. Now the problem is with the form, right? Because this guy's trying to use a form. And so let's go do that test real quick. Because Jira software has very dumb forms that don't work very well. But we're going to very quickly and easily debunk this right now. We're going to go to the same story. And then we're going to see if our field shows up. It does not. So you see this here?
Mm-hmm.
It is not showing my test asset field.
Mm-hmm.
That it should show it because it is in the it's in the screen. So normally when you want a field to show up here, you need to add it to the screen, and once it's in the screen, then it's usable. But in this particular case, it's not. So I'm gonna go. So this is gonna be my answer. What's this homie's name? Adam. I think it was Adam, right? Yes.
Yeah.
The good news is that if you pull in an assets custom field to your non-JSM screen, you can use the assets field in Jira software by using the regular create button. The bad news is when you are trying to use the rather lackluster form builder within Jira software, that that asset field will not show up. Can you just use the create button instead of the form? Also, after you create the work item, the asset field is visible in your story. Might just not have data. You use the form. But it's possible to use. We just proved that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next question. We got time for one more, hopefully. All right. Jira replies showing as reported instead of client email. Let me refresh this. Whenever we receive an email from the client, it shows as the reporter replying instead of the client email. How do I fix this? What does this even mean? Who did the email go to if it was not? Yeah. Let's read this one last time. So whenever we receive a reply via email from a client, it shows as the reporter replying instead of the client email. Whenever we receive a reply, I don't even get this question. Let's go on to the next one before Ronnie loses his something. Nancy, this is not a question, but let's see. I'm studying for the Jira 120. Would love to form a small study group preparing for the same exam. You're interested? Oh, that's cool. Ronnie, should I shamelessly drop in our 120 study guide? I'm gonna drop
Is it 120 or 520 that she's studying for?
it. Jira administration for cloud.
Okay.
That tells me 120. The other one's at last in administration. ACP-120.
Ronnie says you should put the full version of it.
I know that's what I'm gonna do.
Hopefully, Atlassian lets you.
Oh boy. Where you at, Ronnie?
Right there.
He's new here? How many accounts does Ronnie have? Boom. Okay. Post. Next. When we learn one valuable thing today, that JSM assets can be used in the they can be used in the Jira software. We don't use story points for our burn up chart uses item count, and in this sprint, the horizontal axis has repeated dates. I've never seen this before. Can anyone help?
Huh.
Ooh, I think I know what the problem is. Dave Mathis. Multiple updates on the same day. No. Mitts. No.
Like, no. None of those options.
What?
Okay. Go, because you're on a timer.
I'm gonna ask. What are
Yeah,
your
you literally have 5 minutes.
What are your sprint dates? Watch this. So I'm gonna in my backlog. I'm gonna create a sprint. I'm gonna complete this sprint here.
Mm-hmm.
Move it over to sprint number 2. I don't want this, right? And I'm gonna edit my sprint so that it's 3 days. So I'm gonna go. What day is it today? 12.
12.
We're gonna go to 1, 2, 3. Let's go to the 15th. Right. Start my sprint. Start. And when I go to the report and go to my burn up chart, I should see multiple of the same days. Was it burn up? What did they have?
Burn down?
No, it's the burn up. Why can't I see it? Burn up. Oh, here we go. Issue count. Something save. Okay, but I need sprint 2. There are no estimated issues in the sprint. What are you talking about? I have 1. Okay, let's add more work then. She's picky. Reports. Burn up. There we go. See? I have multiple dates because my timeline is so compressed that it doesn't take up the full, like the other one that was a 2-week sprint proper has the different dates because it's very well spaced out.
Yeah.
And so the reason that you see that is because your dates of your sprint are very compressed. So
So
yes,
their sprint
So-
is shorter than
then the typical 2 weeks. So yeah, so this is why no.
Okay, then let them know.
Cool. All right. Answer. We got 3 minutes. Let's see if we can knock out the other one. Uh-oh. Yeah, questions. Ooh. I'm curious. The difference between ep status and epic status. Important notes, endure this. Yeah. Did you know that the epic status field has been deprecated in the cloud?
Ronnie says, "Run, Alex, run." You got 1 minute.
This one's good. Well worded and answered.
Did you give it a thumbs up?
No, I don't have time for that. Oh boy, wait, this one's in French. I can't answer that one.
Okay, so they're using a.
No. Let's do this one.
I'm like, I can read French.
This is the last one right here. Let's see what's up with this one. How can I create a board specific to a component in Jira? In our project, we have 4 components. Currently, board display all issues regardless of the component. I want to configure a separate board for each component so that each board, how can this be configured?
I guess create filters instead of their boards, right? Yeah.
I like how Jack uses an acronym for people that don't know what the heck they're doing. If I was a new person, I'm like, what the hell is a TPM, TMP, and CMP? especially if they're not projects anymore in their spaces. All right. I think we're gonna stop here. One thing that I would like to do though is like in the future for another episode, these are the right answers. And so, other than just giving them a thumbs up, I'd like to do a video that people can then reference so that they know, because it's one thing to read this and it's another
Mm-hmm.
thing to see it in actual action. So I'd like to go through these steps here and
And show
actually
them.
create that component. Yeah. So we're gonna stop here, folks. The end of Jira Duty number 1. We will be back in 2 weeks' time. We're gonna try to do these every other week. And so if you enjoyed it, make sure you get that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.